In his final months, Andy Warhol poured his soul into art the world rarely mentions. Paintings born from his own urine, explicit sketches of human forms, and obsessive records of every whisper, scandal, and secret. Yet his last sketchbook held something far more chilling. A single page so unsettling that his assistants, upon discovering it, smothered it in black ink, not to preserve its mystery, but to bury its truth. This wasn't about celebrities or soup cans. It was a raw confession of why hospitals terrified him, a fear that explains why a routine surgery stole his life. Hidden for decades, this revelation unveils the enigma of Andy Warhol, a man who turned vulnerability into art and dread into legacy. Born Andrew Warhol on August 6, 1928, in a cramped Pittsburgh apartment, he entered a world of struggle. His Slovak immigrant parents, Andre and Julia, fleeing hunger only to find hardship in America's Steel City. Their home, a modest space on Beelen Street, later Dawson Street, was a revolving door of poverty-stricken addresses in a neighborhood teeming with immigrant families scraping by. Andre toiled in perilous jobs, mining, construction, returning home caked in grime, his weary smiles a faint light for his children. Julia, devout and tireless, sewed and cleaned to keep the family afloat, her prayers a constant hum. Andy, the youngest of three brothers, wore hand-me-downs from Paul and John, their meals often stretched thin. At 8, in 1936, a cruel twist struck. Sydenham's chorea, a neurological illness, left him trembling uncontrollably, bedridden for weeks, his pale skin and thinning hair marking him as different. School became a gauntlet. Bullies taunted his frail frame, soft voice, and uneven features, calling him names and shoving him in hallways. Confined at home, he found refuge in movie magazines brought by Julia, their glossy images of Greta Garbo and Shirley Temple sparking his imagination. At the kitchen table, he sketched, cut out starlets' faces, and built collages, his mind soaring where his body couldn't. Being sick made me who I am, he later said. That table his first canvas. A Brownie camera, a gift from his parents, became his lifeline. He built a basement darkroom, capturing fragments of a world he longed to join. Despite the chaos of poverty, Julia's fervent Byzantine Catholic faith shaped him. Golden icons and saintly images in church offered solace, their glow embedding in his art. Even as fame beckoned, he attended Mass weekly, quietly served at homeless shelters, and funded his nephew's path to priesthood, a private piety that stunned mourners when 2,000 gathered at St. Patrick's Cathedral for his 1987 memorial, where an art historian revealed Andy's role in a quiet conversion. Tragedy struck in May 1942 when Andy was 13. His father, Andre, died of tuberculous peritonitis after drinking contaminated water on a job, his body laid out in their tiny living room for 3 days per tradition. Terrified, Andy hid, unable to face death's stark reality. Life grew grimmer. He and Paul peddled fruits door to door, while Andy sketched portraits for pennies. Without funds for formal art lessons, he took mail-order courses, practicing relentlessly. School remained brutal. His illness left his hands shaky, his appearance a target, but he turned pain into power, later dyeing his hair silver, donning wigs and scarves, making difference his defiance. At Skinley High School, he graduated in 1945 at 16, ranking 51st of 278, his quirky drawings of soup cans and toothpaste tubes baffling teachers accustomed to still lives. In September 1945, he entered Carnegie Institute of Technology's art program, one of 60 freshmen, mostly women due to post-war demographics. His tremors made painting messy, risking expulsion, but supportive veteran classmates and a focus on commercial design kept him afloat. He drew magazine covers and worked summers in department stores, learning to craft displays that told stories, though critics mocked his feminine, soft lines. Teacher Robert Lepper urged him to see art in the mundane: cans, bottles, planting seeds for his iconic works. In 1949, Andy's nude self-portrait in Mary Jane's shoes shocked conservative Pittsburgh, a bold claim of identity. That June, with $200 from Julia, he boarded a train to New York City, dropping the A from Warhol to become Andy Warhol, sharing a bohemian apartment with classmate Philip Pearlstein. On his second day, he marched into Glamour magazine, landing a job illustrating shoes, launching a career that would redefine art. In November 1961, Warhol painted 32 Campbell's soup cans, each flavor a canvas, debuting in Los Angeles by July 1962. The art world reeled, grocery items in a gallery, tracing projections by hand. He reflected his daily reality. I ate that soup for 20 years. Critics debated if it was art or mockery, but Warhol's vision prevailed. That year, Roy Lichtenstein's Mickey Mouse painting stung Warhol, sparking a quiet rivalry over pop art's origins, their mutual influence undeniable. In August 1962, Marilyn Monroe's death inspired Warhol's Marilyn diptych, her vibrant face fading to monochrome, a modern altarpiece that The Guardian later called a cornerstone of modern art. In 1964, he transformed wooden boxes into Brillo soap pad replicas for the Stable Gallery, infuriating critics who questioned their artistry, each $4,000 piece barely selling, but reshaping sculpture's boundaries. His 1964 New York World's Fair mural of mugshots, 13 Most Wanted Men, was painted over in silver amid controversy. Yet Warhol repurposed it for Paris in 1967, turning censorship into triumph. That year, he draped his studio in silver foil, birthing the Factory, a chaotic haven for artists, misfits, and dreamers. Between 1963 and 1968, he made 650 experimental films, aiming to work like a machine. In 1965, he met Edie Sedgwick, a 21-year-old socialite, filming her obsessively until her 1966 departure for Bob Dylan and descent into addiction, ending in her 1971 death. His 1966 Chelsea Girls, a 3-hour split-screen odyssey of drugs and despair, shocked audiences, banned in cities, yet drew national acclaim. Producing the Velvet Underground's 1967 album, with its peelable banana cover, he fused music and art, their raw songs of heroin and masochism amplifying his provocative vision. His 1968 book A novel, transcribed from unedited, profane conversations, sparked lawsuits for its rawness. On June 3, 1968, Valerie Solanas shot Warhol at the Factory, her bullets piercing his chest, stomach, liver, and lungs after he rejected her scum manifesto. Declared dead, he was revived after 6 hours of surgery, wearing a corset for life, his paranoia deepening. The Factory tightened security, and Warhol shifted to lucrative celebrity portraits, launching Interview magazine in 1969, a gossip-driven juggernaut fueled by Studio 54 parties. His 1972 Mao portraits, banned in China, later sold for $17.4 million, while his Death and Disaster series, car crashes, suicides, drew accusations of exploiting pain, though he argued he mirrored media's gaze. In the early 1970s, he designed diamond dust shoes, but IRS scrutiny over undervalued art sales painted him as a schemer. Between 1977 and 1978, his piss paintings, urine on copper canvases, shocked galleries, as did his explicit sex parts and torso series, reflecting his queer nightlife explorations. His 1980s Fright Wig self-portraits bared his insecurities, rooted in a 1950s nose surgery and lingering shame from his 1968 scars and hair loss. His Before and After, 1962, echoed his fixation on transformation, a cry beneath its plastic surgery ad facade. Romantically, he loved Jed Johnson until their 1980 split, then fell for John Gould, a Paramount executive whose 1986 AIDS death at 33 devastated Warhol. His diary entries too raw to detail. From 1974 to 1987, he filled 600-plus time capsules with 300,000 items, receipts, food, bugs, hoarding life's fragments from fear of loss. In 1986, his Last Supper series, inspired by his mother's kitchen print and a Milan gallery's prompt, produced over 100 works, including a 32-foot giant, grappling with mortality post-Gould. Legal battles haunted him. Sued for using others' photos, his foundation faced a 2023 Supreme Court ruling against a print's image, reshaping fair use. From 1976 to 1987, he dictated diaries to Pat Hackett, their 20,000 pages of gossip sparking lawsuits from figures like Bianca Jagger. His gallbladder issues, ignored from fear, forced a February 20th, 1987, surgery at New York Hospital. Post-op, he seemed stable, but at 4:30 a.m. on February 22nd, he turned blue. A nurse's delay until 5:45 a.m. proved fatal. At 6:31 a.m., aged 58, he died, his autopsy revealing amphetamine damage, 128-pound frailty, and scars from 1968. His estate's $3 million hospital settlement couldn't mask the truth. His weakened body couldn't withstand surgery. His will, creating the Andy Warhol Foundation, valued at $220 million by 1993, left little for family, sparking legal chaos. Fake Warhols fueled 2024 lawsuits, and factory collaborators like John Giorno and Holly Woodlawn accused him of exploitation. His final sketchbook's inked-out page, revealed decades later, depicted a hospital bed, jagged lines of a trembling heart monitor, and a faint figure. Warhol himself, clutching a rosary, a confession of his lifelong hospital dread, rooted in his father's death and 1968 trauma. His $650 million legacy endures, his art in museums. But his true story lies in turning pain into power, fear into creation. Outro music. This draws from data at production time and may evolve. Share your thoughts below, like, and explore our videos for more stories of brilliance and shadow.